beautiful friends, it's Amanda here. Today I'm going to be doing two different eyeshadow tutorials for you, each one using one of these Heartbreakers palettes. I recently posted a full swatch and review video of these two palettes, compared them to some ColourPop 9 pans, so if you want more information about these little palettes, definitely check that video out. I'll link it down in the description box for you. Today we're just going to be doing the eye looks. I'll show you the eye look I was wearing in the review video using this little I Heart Revolution Mystical palette, and then I'll also show you how I got this look I'm wearing right now with the I Heart Revolution Courage palette. I also have kind of surprising opinions about these two palettes that I didn't share in my review, so stick around to the end because I was surprised by my own opinion, so you probably will be too. First, let's take a look at the two tutorials. We'll start off with the Mystical palette tutorial, and then I'll show you this look with the Courage palette. So let's take a look at those eyeshadow tutorials now. I'm starting off by first priming my lids with my all-time favorite eye base. It's the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Painterly. Then to set that base and make this a little bit easier to blend on top of, I'm going to take just a light sweep of the MAC Next to Nothing powder on top. Now we're going into the Mystical palette, this purpley palette here, and the shades don't have names, so I'll just refer to them by their numbers. First, starting with shade number 8, and using my favorite blending brush from ColourPop. It's literally just called the blending brush, and I'm using shade number 8 in the upper crease area all the way across my eye, and then sort of blending out and up. Next, I'm going to take shade number 5, and I'm using a really flat, skinny brush here. I'm going to do sort of a faux liner, but I'm doing this step first to layer it under a shimmery lid color so that I just have the hint of a liner underneath, and it's just sort of darker towards the lashes and not really a defined liner look. So this is the shape I was going for, not too precise, not too thin. I really want to keep that dark look near the lashes. Next, I'm taking shade number 6, and with my finger, I'm going to really build this up on the lid. It took a lot of layering, even applied with a finger, to really get this to show up in any sort of even or opaque capacity on the lid. As you can see here, I'm just working this layering over and over and over again, and I did try it with a damp brush on my other eye and it just pulled up all the shadow, so definitely don't do that. Then I'm going back with shade number 5 and that small flat brush and doing the same thing, layering that deeper shade near the lid and then piling up more of shade number 6 on top. I've shortened this and sped it up, but this really took way too long to justify. Now I'm going back in with shade number 8. I'm taking that just back into the crease area to really brighten up and bring some of that pink back to the look. Next, I'm using shade number 4, again with my finger, this time my pinky, just a little light dusting around the inner corner. Then I curled my lashes, added my Milk Makeup Kush mascara to finish the look, and overall, I'm happy with how this turned out. I do think it's really pretty. It just took a lot of work, a lot of layering to get that shimmery purple to really show up, and just after a few hours of wear, it really started coming off, especially in the crease area, so it just couldn't quite stack up to my other eyeshadow palettes, even things that aren't super expensive, just overall perform better than this Mystical palette. Let's go to the Courage palette now. I'm going to prime my eyes in the exact same way. I do this for every single eye look ever, not only because it works really well for me, but it also helps me to compare formulas and performance across many different palettes. If I always prime the same way, then it's just down to the shadows, if you know what I mean. So let's go into shade number 2. Especially after my experience with the Mystical palette, I was shocked at how bright, opaque, true to color this mustardy matte shade was on my eye. I just had such a good time using it. Now I'm mixing shades 1 and 5 on a little fluffy small brush and building that up over the outer 2/3 of my lid. Again, Really smooth, really opaque, just super easy to work with. Now I'm using shade number 6. I'm going to go over sort of the inner half of the lid and blend that into those matte shades. Get a little shimmer going on here. Then I went in with shade number 4 from the Courage palette, and I just added a little bright pop of pink where those two shades blended together to give a little bit of a transition. Lastly, shade number 3. I put this on a small pencil brush and I just sort of smudged that along the lower lash line to give a little bit of balance to this look. Curled my lashes, added my Milk Makeup Kush mascara, and that finishes off the look. So pleased with this. It was like night and day between the Mystical and the Courage palettes. This was super easy to work with. The shades were really showing up well on my lids. It took me about half the time to do this eye look as my purple look, and I'm just really happy with it. Now you've seen both of these palettes in action, and I have to tell you, I was very, very shocked that I enjoyed this Courage palette so much more than the Mystical palette. Because I am such a purple eyeshadow girl, the palette that I compared this Mystical palette to in the review video is the ColourPop It's My Pleasure palette. It's one of my all-time favorite palettes. Because this one was so comparable to It's My Pleasure, I didn't expect to love this as much as It's My Pleasure, but I expected that this would be my favorite of the two, and that's not the case. I like this Courage palette so much more than the Mystical palette. The overall performance of this palette was so much better. The mattes were much easier to blend. The shimmers were, you know, actually shimmery. I like my shimmers to be shimmery. The overall quality of all the shadows in here was just better, more opaque, easier to blend, easier to work with. I felt like my eye look, it took way less strenuous work to make my eyeshadow look turn out the way I wanted it to. And I just think the color variation in here is great. It's got a little bit more variation than the ColourPop Main Squeeze palette, which is the comparison I made in the review video. And that was my biggest criticism of Main Squeeze when it came out, when I reviewed that release, was that there wasn't enough variation. And this is giving me a little bit more variation. I've got this mustardy matte yellow, which I was kind of expecting might be a little bit sucky quality-wise, because yellows can be tricky. And this one was great. I used it today. I was really happy with it. I love these two shimmers in particular. They just came off really sparkly, really opaque. Overall, I don't think that these are better quality-wise than the ColourPop palettes. That's what my conclusion was in my original review. But of the two I've tried, this Courage palette is much, much more satisfactory than the Mystical palette. This one actually has more eye safe shades than the Mystical palette too. There's 3 eye safe shades in here. There's only 2 in the Mystical palette. So wow, this is just better in every way. Like I said, definitely go check out that review video if you haven't seen it already. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these palettes, if you've tried them, if you've tried the other colors, which one of these eye looks was your favorite. I always love to hear what you guys think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye! What am I gonna do? Unfortunately, when I ordered these, I also ordered 2 really cute little J-Cat palettes from Ulta because I wanted to review those and do some looks with them just like I'm doing right now. And they arrived completely shattered. So I'm pretty sad about that. Anyway, I'm fine. Wow. Just wow. That's all I have to say for myself. What? That was shady. That's the tea, sis. Oh man, my foot was falling asleep, but I was on a roll and I didn't want to move. Ooh. YouTube probs. Alright, do you think we can get one more video in? Maybe, maybe not. I only have about 2 hours a week to film. I used to have like a full work week, and now I My husband takes my son on a walk to catch Pokemon for like an hour or two every like couple of days, and that's when I film, so wish me luck. But also, it's fine, you know? I'm fine making the best with what I got. That's all I can do. I'm staying positive. My therapist would be so proud. Keeping my routine of filming and uploading. Yes. Snaps for mental health and physical health. Wash your hands. Stay home, please. Stay home, wash your hands. Oh my gosh, be safe. I love all of your faces so much. Okay, I gotta go. Bye. Wash your hands, stay home, bye.